Hello everyone. Welcome back to the English Academy. I'm really glad you're here. Let me ask you something. How many times have you promised yourself? Today is the day. Today I'll finally stop wasting time. Today I'll study. Today I'll work on my dream. You believed it. You meant every single word. But somehow, nothing happened. You picked up your phone. Just for a minute. You checked one notification. Then another. One short video became 10. 10 became 50. Before you even realized it, half of your day was gone. Then a thought appeared. It's okay. I'll start this evening. But evening came. And suddenly you felt tired. You looked at the clock. And said the same sentence you've said hundreds of times before. I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow. Turned into next week. Next week. Turned into next month. And before you knew it, another year had passed. If this sounds familiar, then don't skip this video. Because today isn't about motivation. It's about understanding something that most people never realize. By the end of this video, you'll understand why you keep repeating the same cycle. And more importantly, how to finally break it. Take a moment and think about the biggest goal in your life. Maybe you want to speak English confidently. Maybe you want to get better grades. Maybe you want to build a successful career. Maybe you want to start your own business. Or maybe you simply want to become the person you've always dreamed of becoming. Now ask yourself one honest question. What's really stopping you? Is it a lack of time? Probably not. Is it a lack of knowledge? Not really. Because today, knowledge is everywhere. Books are available. Courses are available. Videos are available. Answers are only one search away. So why do millions of people still struggle to take action? That's the real question. Most people think, I need more motivation. But motivation is like the weather. Some days it's bright. Some days it's gone. If your life depends on motivation, your progress will always stop. Successful people don't move because they feel motivated. They move because they've learned something much more powerful. And that's exactly what you're going to discover. Here's something interesting. Lazy people don't usually feel guilty. They don't stay awake at night, thinking about everything they failed to do. They don't search for videos like this. They don't wish for a better future. But you do. That's why you're here. Deep inside, you want to change. You want to become more disciplined. You want to stop making excuses. And that's a very important sign. It means you haven't given up. You've simply been fighting the wrong battle. For years, you've probably blamed yourself. You called yourself lazy, weak, undisciplined. But what if I told you that's not the real problem? What if the thing holding you back is something almost every human being experiences? Think about a rocket. The hardest part isn't flying through space. The hardest part is leaving the ground. It uses the most fuel during the first few minutes. After that, everything becomes easier. Your life works in a very similar way. Starting is always harder than continuing. Opening the book is harder than reading it. Beginning a workout is harder than finishing it. Writing the first sentence is harder than writing the next 100. The biggest challenge is almost never the work itself. It's convincing yourself to begin. And every single day, your mind creates new excuses. I'll wait for the perfect time. I'll start after this weekend. I'll begin next month. Those excuses feel harmless. But they slowly steal your future. Because success isn't built by one big decision. It's built by the small choices you make every single day. Every time you choose action, you become a little stronger. Every time you choose comfort, the habit of procrastination becomes stronger. Here's the good news. Habits can be changed. Your mind can be trained. And the cycle that's been controlling your life can be broken. But first, you need to understand why your brain keeps choosing comfort, even when you know it's hurting your future. And that's where everything starts to make sense. Have you ever noticed something strange? The moment you decide to do something important, your mind suddenly finds 10 other things to do. You remember messages you haven't replied to. You feel like cleaning your desk. You start checking your emails. You open social media. Just for a minute. And somehow, an entire hour disappears. It almost feels like your brain is working against you. But the truth is, it isn't. Your brain is simply doing what it was designed to do. Its first job isn't to make you successful. It isn't to make you rich. And it certainly isn't to help you achieve your dreams. Its first job is to keep you safe, to save energy, and to avoid discomfort. Thousands of years ago, this helped human beings survive. Food wasn't always available. Life was dangerous. Saving energy meant staying alive. But the world has changed. Your brain hasn't. Today, you don't have to hunt for food. You don't have to walk miles to find water. Everything is available instantly. Entertainment, food, games, movies, endless scrolling. Your brain loves all of it. Why? Because every notification, every short video, every little distraction, gives your brain a quick reward. A tiny burst of pleasure. And your brain remembers that feeling. It starts saying, "That felt good. Let's do it again. Again. And again. Until it becomes a habit." That's why, the moment you sit down to study, your brain whispers, "Check your phone first. Watch one video. There's still plenty of time." Those thoughts don't sound dangerous. But they're stealing something you'll never get back. Your time. Think about this. Imagine someone gives you two choices. You can have $10 today. Or $100 after 1 month. Many people choose the $10. Not because it's smarter. But because it's immediate. This is exactly how your brain works. It naturally prefers small rewards now, instead of bigger rewards later. Learning English doesn't give you instant results. Building a business doesn't happen overnight. Getting fit takes months. Reading books doesn't make you smarter in one day. The best things in life always take time. And that's exactly why most people give up too early. Not because they're incapable, but because they expect fast results. Imagine planting a seed. On the first day, nothing happens. After 1 week, still nothing. Even after several weeks, the ground looks exactly the same. Does that mean the seed is dead? Of course not. The roots are growing underground, even though you can't see them. Your progress works the same way. Every chapter you study, every workout you complete, every English sentence you practice, is growing invisible roots. One day, those roots become confidence. Then confidence becomes results. But here's the mistake most people make. They stop watering the seed. Just because they can't see the tree. They quit too early. Then they convince themselves. It wasn't meant for me. Nothing could be further from the truth. Success doesn't belong to the smartest person. Success doesn't belong to the most talented person. Very often, success belongs to the person who simply refused to quit. The person who kept showing up, even on difficult days, even without motivation, even without immediate results. Because they understood one powerful lesson. Small actions, repeated every day, always defeat big plans that are never started. The question isn't, can you change your life? The real question is, what are you choosing today? 5 more minutes of comfort, or one small step toward your future? That single decision, repeated every day, has the power to completely change your life. But there's another hidden reason why even intelligent people keep delaying important work. And once you understand it, you'll never see procrastination the same way again. Let me ask you another question. How many times have you made the perfect plan, only to abandon it a few days later? Maybe you bought a new notebook, downloaded a productivity app, created a colorful timetable, promised yourself that this time everything would be different. For a day or two, it actually was. You woke up early. You felt excited. You worked harder than usual. Then something happened. You missed one day. Just one. The next morning, you felt guilty. Instead of starting again, you told yourself, I've already ruined my schedule. I'll start fresh next Monday. And just like that, one missed day turned into a missed week. Here's the truth. Success isn't destroyed because you miss one day. It's destroyed when you believe one bad day means you failed. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. The first time you tried, you probably lost your balance. Maybe you even fell. Did that mean you could never ride a bicycle? Of course not. You got up, tried again, fell again, and eventually, you learned. Failure wasn't the opposite of success. It was part of success. The same is true for every goal in your life. Nobody studies perfectly. Nobody eats healthy every single day. Nobody stays motivated all the time. The difference is, successful people don't let one mistake become an excuse to quit. They understand something powerful. Missing once is an accident. Giving up is a decision. Your goal isn't to be perfect. Your goal is to return. Every single time you fall. Imagine climbing a staircase. If you slip on one step, do you walk all the way back down? No. You stand up and keep climbing. Life works exactly the same way. Stop expecting perfection. Start expecting progress. Because progress is what changes lives. There's another mistake that keeps people trapped. They think, I have to feel motivated before I take action. But motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. Think about the last time you didn't feel like studying, but somehow you forced yourself to start. After 10 or 15 minutes, something changed. You became focused. The work felt easier. You wanted to continue. What happened? Your motivation appeared after you started, not before. That's how it usually works. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind. Before you raise the sail, nothing moves. Until you take the first step. And that first step doesn't have to be big. Read one page. Write one sentence. Learn 5 English words. Exercise for 5 minutes. That's enough. Because starting breaks the resistance. Once you're moving, your brain naturally wants to continue. This is why small wins are so powerful. Every small promise you keep builds trust. Not with other people, with yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. When you repeatedly prove to yourself, I do what I say I'll do, your entire mindset begins to change. You stop seeing yourself as someone who procrastinates. You start seeing yourself as someone who takes action. That identity changes everything. Because people naturally act according to who they believe they are. If you believe, I'm lazy, you'll behave like a lazy person. If you believe, I'm becoming more disciplined every day, your actions slowly begin to match that belief. This doesn't happen overnight. But it happens. One choice at a time. One habit at a time. One day at a time. The real transformation isn't happening on your schedule. It's happening inside your mind. And once your identity changes, staying consistent becomes much easier. But there's still one invisible habit that silently destroys discipline, even in people who genuinely want to succeed. Let's uncover that next. There's something most people never realize. Your habits are not controlled by motivation. They're controlled by your environment. Think about your room, your study table, your phone, your daily routine. They influence your decisions far more than you imagine. Let's say you decide to study English. You sit at your desk, open your notebook, and suddenly your phone lights up. One notification. Just one. You tell yourself, I'll check it for 30 seconds. 30 seconds become 20 minutes. Then 40. Then an hour. Your focus is gone. And you blame yourself. I have no self-control. But was it really your fault? Not completely. Because your environment made distraction easier than action. Here's a simple example. Imagine there's a bowl of chocolate right in front of you. Every single day. Sooner or later, you'll eat one. Not because you're hungry, but because it's there. Now imagine the chocolate is locked away, and a bowl of fresh fruit is sitting on the table instead. Without thinking, you'll probably choose the fruit. Did your willpower suddenly become stronger? No. Your environment changed. And your behavior followed. The same principle applies to your life. If your phone is always next to you, you'll keep checking it. If social media is only one tap away, you'll keep opening it. If your study books are hidden in a drawer, you'll keep delaying them. Your brain always chooses the easiest option. So don't make distraction easy. Make success easy. Want to read more? Leave a book on your desk. Want to practice English? Keep an English podcast ready to play. Want to stop using your phone? Place it in another room. These changes may seem small, but small changes create big results. Here's another mistake people make every day. They rely on memory. They say, I'll remember to study later. I'll remember my workout. I'll remember my goals. No. You won't. Life gets busy. Your brain gets distracted. That's why successful people don't depend on memory. They create systems. A reminder. A calendar. A daily routine. A fixed study time. They remove the need to make a decision every day. Because every decision uses mental energy. The fewer unnecessary decisions you make, the more energy you have for what truly matters. Think about successful athletes. They don't wake up each morning wondering whether they should train. Training is already part of their routine. It's automatic. Imagine if brushing your teeth required motivation every day. It would never happen consistently. But you don't think about it. You simply do it. That's the power of a habit. The goal isn't to force yourself forever. The goal is to repeat an action until it becomes natural. Until your brain says, "This is just what we do." That's when discipline stops feeling difficult and starts feeling normal. So instead of asking, "How can I become more motivated?" ask yourself, "How can I make the right choice easier?" That one question can completely change your life. Because people rarely rise to the level of their goals. They usually fall to the level of their systems. Build the right system, and success becomes easier. Ignore your system, and even the strongest motivation will eventually disappear. But there's one final obstacle that quietly steals more dreams than failure ever could. It's something almost everyone says, without realizing how dangerous it is. Just 4 simple words. I'll do it later. Let's talk about why those words are far more powerful than they seem. 4 words. I'll do it later. They sound harmless. In fact, you probably said them today. Maybe without even noticing. I'll study later. I'll exercise later. I'll read that book later. I'll start my project later. The strange thing is, later almost never arrives. It quietly turns into tomorrow. Tomorrow turns into next week. Next week becomes next month. And before you realize it, years have passed. The biggest danger of procrastination isn't losing one day. It's losing your direction. Think about a plane. If the pilot changes the direction by just 1 degree, the passengers won't notice anything at first. Everything looks normal. But after a few hours, that tiny change leads to a completely different destination. Life works the same way. One day of procrastination doesn't seem important. Neither does the second day. Or the third. But after hundreds of small delays, you wake up living a life you never planned. Here's something powerful to remember. Every decision is shaping your future. Not someday. Today. The person you'll become 5 years from now is being created by the choices you make this week. Not by your dreams. Not by your wishes. By your daily actions. Let's imagine 2 friends. Both are 20 years old. Both have the same education. The same opportunities. The same amount of time. The first friend reads just 10 pages every day. Exercises for 20 minutes. Practices English for 15 minutes. The second friend says, "I'll start next month." Instead, he spends hours scrolling, watching random videos, waiting for motivation. 1 year later, the difference isn't huge. But after 5 years, Their lives look completely different. One has built valuable skills, confidence, discipline. The other is still waiting for the perfect time. That's the power of small daily choices. People often overestimate what they can do in one day, but they completely underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years. Don't focus only on today's results. Focus on today's habits. Results always follow habits. Here's another truth. Your future self is watching you. Not literally. But imagine meeting yourself 5 years from today. What would that person say? Would they thank you for starting today? Or would they ask, why did you keep waiting? That question is worth thinking about. Because every time you delay something important, you're asking your future self to pay the price. Every missed workout, every missed study session, every broken promise becomes tomorrow's regret. But every small action becomes tomorrow's confidence. You don't build confidence by thinking. You build confidence by keeping promises to yourself. Even tiny promises. Especially tiny promises. If you say, I'll study for 10 minutes. Then study for 10 minutes. If you say, I'll learn 5 new English words. Learn those 5 words. Your brain notices every promise you keep and every promise you break. When you keep your promises, you begin trusting yourself. When you repeatedly break them, you slowly lose that trust. And without self-trust, discipline becomes much harder. So stop making huge promises you can't keep. Make small promises you know you'll complete. Because consistency will always beat intensity. Remember this sentence. Small actions done every single day will always defeat big actions done once in a while. That simple idea has changed countless lives. And it can change yours too. But we're still missing one final piece. Knowing what to do isn't enough. You also need a simple system that makes taking action almost automatic. Let's build that system together. So, how do you actually stop procrastinating? Not for one day. Not for 1 week. But for good. The answer isn't working harder. It's working smarter. Most people try to change their lives by relying on willpower. But willpower is limited. Think about your phone battery. You start the day with 100%. As the day goes on, the battery slowly drains. Your willpower works the same way. Every decision you make uses a little bit of mental energy. What should I wear? What should I eat? Should I work now? Or later? By the evening, your mind is tired. That's why most people make their worst decisions at the end of the day. So instead of depending on willpower, build a system that works. Even when you don't feel motivated. Here's the first step. Make starting so easy that your brain has no reason to resist. Don't tell yourself, I'm going to study for 3 hours. Say, I'm only going to study for 5 minutes. 5 minutes feels easy. Your brain doesn't panic. And here's the funny part. Once you start, you'll often continue far beyond 5 minutes. Because starting is the hardest part. This is called lowering the resistance. The easier it is to begin, the more often you'll take action. Here's the second step. Remove distractions. before they remove your focus. If your phone keeps interrupting you, put it in another room. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Close the extra tabs on your laptop. Create an environment where focus becomes the easiest choice. Remember, you don't rise because you're motivated. You rise because distractions become weaker. The third step is something very few people do. Track your progress. Not to impress others, but to remind yourself that you're moving forward. Take a calendar. Every day you complete your habit, put a simple check mark. That's it. After a few days, you'll notice something interesting. You won't want to break the chain. One small check mark turns into 5. 5 become 10. Then 20. Without realizing it, consistency becomes part of your identity. Here's another important lesson. Never miss twice. Everyone has bad days. Everyone gets tired. Everyone loses focus sometimes. That's normal. But if you miss today, come back tomorrow. Don't let one mistake become a new habit. One bad meal won't ruin your health. One missed workout won't destroy your fitness. One unproductive day won't destroy your future. But repeating those mistakes will. So forgive yourself quickly. Learn the lesson. Then keep moving. There's no prize for being perfect. The real victory is refusing to quit. And finally, celebrate small victories. Not because you've reached the finish line, but because you've taken another step. Finished one chapter. Celebrate it. Learned 10 new English words. Be proud of it. Completed your workout. Smile. Those tiny moments tell your brain progress feels good. And when progress feels rewarding, your brain starts wanting more of it. That's how lasting habits are built. Not through pressure. Not through fear. But through repetition and positive reinforcement. Always remember this. You don't have to change your entire life today. You only have to win this moment. Because when you win this moment, the next one becomes easier. Then the next. And before you realize it, you're no longer the person who always says, "I'll do it tomorrow." You've become someone who takes action today. And that single change can transform every area of your life. But before we finish, there's one final mindset shift that separates ordinary people from those who achieve extraordinary results. There is one belief that changes everything. Most people wake up every morning and ask themselves, "What do I have to do today?" It sounds like a normal question, but it's the wrong one. A better question is, who am I becoming today? There's a huge difference. When your focus is only on tasks, you'll lose motivation. But when your focus is on identity, your actions begin to change naturally. Think about someone who says, "I want to learn English." That's a goal. Now listen to this. "I am becoming a person who speaks English every day." That's an identity. Goals can be forgotten. Identity stays with you. Imagine two people are offered a cigarette. The first person says, "No thanks. I'm trying to quit." The second person says, "No thanks. I don't smoke." Both refused. But their mindset is completely different. One is fighting temptation. The other has already changed their identity. The same principle applies to every area of life. Don't say, "I'm trying to become disciplined." Say, I am a disciplined person who keeps promises. Don't say, I'm trying to read more. Say, I am someone who reads every day. Your brain listens to the words you repeat. And over time, it starts believing them. Here's something interesting. Every action you take is casting a vote. Not for your future. For your identity. Every time you choose to study, you vote for becoming a learner. Every time you exercise, you vote for becoming a healthy person. Every time you keep your promise, you vote for becoming disciplined. One vote won't decide the election, but thousands of votes will. The same is true for your habits. Don't worry about changing your life in one day. Focus on collecting one more positive vote every single day. Another mistake people make is expecting confidence before taking action. But confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. Think about the first time you rode a bicycle or spoke English in front of someone. You weren't confident. You were nervous. But every time you practiced, your confidence grew. Confidence is not a gift. It's evidence. Evidence that you've done something again and again. That's why action always comes before confidence. Don't wait until you believe in yourself. Start acting. And you'll slowly create reasons to believe in yourself. Your future isn't asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to keep going. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days everything will go according to plan. Other days nothing will. Keep moving anyway. Consistency is far more powerful than intensity. 1 hour every day will always beat 10 hours once a month. Never underestimate the power of showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because those are the days that build real discipline. Those are the days that separate dreamers from achievers. And one day, without even noticing, you'll look back. You'll realize you no longer wait for the perfect moment. You no longer depend on motivation. You simply take action. Because that's who you've become. And once your identity changes, success stops feeling impossible. It starts feeling inevitable. There's just one final lesson left. A lesson that can help you protect everything you've learned today. Let's finish with that. Take a moment and imagine your life 1 year from today. Picture yourself waking up without hitting the snooze button 5 times. Imagine opening your books without forcing yourself. Imagine speaking English with confidence. Imagine completing your work without waiting for the perfect mood. How would that version of you feel? Proud? Calm? Confident? Here's the truth. That version of you already exists. The only difference is the choices you make every single day. Your future isn't something you find. It's something you create. One decision at a time. Most people spend years waiting for life to change. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the perfect job, the perfect motivation, the perfect timing. But successful people understand something different. They don't wait. They begin. Even when they're scared. Even when they're confused. Even when they're not fully ready. Because they know Action creates clarity. Not the other way around. Think about driving a car at night. Your headlights only show a small part of the road. Not the entire journey. Yet somehow, you still reach your destination. Why? Because you don't need to see the whole road. You only need to see the next few meters. Life works exactly the same way. You don't need a perfect 5-year plan. You only need the courage to take the next step. And then the next one. That's how every great journey begins. Never compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Everyone starts as a beginner. Every successful speaker once struggled to say simple sentences. Every successful entrepreneur made mistakes. Every athlete had weak days. Every expert was once completely inexperienced. The difference wasn't talent. It was persistence. They refused to stop. Ask yourself something. If you continue living exactly the way you are today, where will you be 5 years from now? Will your dreams become reality? Or will they remain just dreams? It's an uncomfortable question. But it's also a powerful one. Because change begins the moment you become honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself anymore. Don't say, "I'll start someday." Give that day a name. Call it today. Not tomorrow. Not next Monday. Not next month. Today. Even if it's only 10 minutes. Even if it's only 1 page. Even if it's only 5 new English words. Progress is progress. And progress always beats perfection. Remember, your biggest competition isn't another person. It's the version of yourself who keeps making excuses. Beat that version. One decision at a time. One habit at a time. One day at a time. 1 year from now, you won't remember how difficult it was to start. You'll only be grateful that you did. And before we end this journey together, there's one final message. One simple reminder that can stay with you for the rest of your life. We've talked about procrastination. We've talked about fear. We've talked about habits and discipline. But none of this will change your life unless you make one decision. A decision to begin right here, right now. Not because you feel motivated. Not because everything is perfect. But because you finally understand that waiting has never helped you. Look back for a moment. Think about every opportunity you almost took. Every goal you almost started. Every dream you almost chased. The word almost has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. Don't let your life become another almost. Because one day, you'll either say, "I'm glad I started," or "I wish I had started." The choice is being made today, not tomorrow. Here's something I want you to remember forever. Your future self is depending on the decisions you make today. Every page you read is a gift to your future. Every hour you study is an investment. Every time you resist distraction, you're building a stronger version of yourself. People often think success happens in one big moment. It doesn't. It happens quietly. No cameras. No applause. No celebration. Just one person Choosing to do the right thing. Again and again. That's what greatness looks like. It's not dramatic. It's consistent. Imagine building a wall. You don't build it in a single day. You place one brick. Then another. Then another. One day. People admire the wall. But they never see the thousands of bricks that made it possible. Your life is exactly the same. Every small habit is another brick. Every promise you keep is another brick. Every excuse you ignore is another brick. Don't underestimate the power of today's brick. Because tomorrow's success will stand on it. There will be difficult days. Days when nothing goes your way. Days when you'll want to quit. Those days will test your character. Anyone can work when they feel inspired. But the people who truly succeed keep showing up, even when they don't feel like it. That's real discipline. Always remember this. Feelings come and go. Excuses come and go. Motivation comes and goes. But your decisions have lasting consequences. So make decisions that your future self will thank you for. When you wake up tomorrow, don't ask, "Do I feel like doing it?" Ask, "What's the next right step?" Then take it. Without overthinking. Without waiting. Without making another excuse. Because action will always silence doubt. And every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress. You don't need a new year. You don't need a new month. You don't even need a new Monday. You simply need a new decision. Make that decision today. Because your future is already waiting for you. And trust me, it will be worth it. We've reached the end of this journey. But this is not the end of your story. In fact, it's the beginning of a brand new chapter. Everything we've talked about today comes down to one simple truth. Your life doesn't change when you know more. Your life changes when you do more. Knowledge without action is only information. Action is transformation. Think about the person you want to become. A confident English speaker. A disciplined student. A successful entrepreneur. A healthier version of yourself. That person isn't created by one big decision. That person is created by hundreds of small decisions made every single day. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to move fast. You don't have to impress anyone. You just have to keep moving. One page. One lesson. One workout. One promise. One step at a time. There will be days when you'll feel unstoppable. There will also be days when you'll feel tired, confused, discouraged. On those days, don't ask yourself, "Should I quit?" Ask yourself, "What's the smallest step I can take today?" Because even a small step moves you forward. Stopping doesn't. Always remember this. The pain of discipline lasts for a moment. But the pain of regret can last a lifetime. 5 years from now, you'll either be proud that you started today, or you'll wish you had. The choice has always been yours. No one can make it for you. Not your parents. Not your teachers. Not your friends. Not even this video. Only you can decide What happens next? So when this video ends, don't close it. And go back to your old habits. Close it. And take action. Read 1 page. Practice 10 new English words. Finish 1 important task. Turn today's inspiration into today's action. Because that's where real change begins. Before I say goodbye, I want you to make one promise. Not to me. To yourself. Promise that you will stop waiting for the perfect moment. Promise that you'll stop saying, I'll start tomorrow. Promise that starting today, you'll take 1 small step. Every single day. If you keep that promise, your future will look very different. And one day, you'll look back at this moment with a smile. Because this was the day everything started to change. If this video inspired you, or helped you see procrastination in a new way, please take a second to like this video. Share it with someone who keeps saying, I'll do it tomorrow. And if you want more videos that help you improve your English, build better habits, and become the best version of yourself, make sure you subscribe to the English Academy and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new lesson. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep believing in yourself. And most importantly, keep taking action. I'll see you in the next video.